record on the computer. There we go. What's the matter, Dee Dee? She has allergies and she keeps chewing herself and then she'll all of a sudden shriek. So she's hurting herself. I know, my poor baby. We did not sleep well last night because she was just frantic. So did you get it all painted blue? It looks like you have a stone. Nice. Very nice. That's beautiful. So I'm using a 6x8 canvas, so we're really similar in size to each other. You're a little squared off. So what's going to happen is you're going to kind of make some adjustments to the painting for it to be square. Here is the original. Okay, so kind of what you're going to want to do is take some out, like in this area, just a little bit, things like that, just to kind of squash it in a little bit. But go ahead and draw in your moon. I would get the moon in, and then I would get this big airflow in. That'll kind of decide a lot for you. I'm glad you finally got some free time. I'm sorry it's about not feeling good, but...
Well, one way or the other, right?
I remember when I was younger, somebody at church was sitting in the lobby just crying, and I have a heart for people who do that, so I went right up. And she said she'd worked her whole adult life and raised a whole bunch of children, so every ounce of her was given to family and work. And she finally retired, and the kids were finally out of the house, and now she was sick, and she couldn't do what she wanted to do. And I just cried with her. I thought that was so sad.
Oh, I know.
It's not what you want or expect, you know?
Well, you never do know what to expect, it's...
No.
Life is a mystery, and...
Well, it is. And, I think in the work environment, people have a real propensity to try to compartmentalize life. They don't like messy, at least not where I worked, because it was sheriff's office. So, they liked things they could control. That was a real big thing. And, well, you just can't.
Well, I think with me, it was a combination of dealing with the public during, the pandemic.
Uh-huh.
Sort of seeing like the very worst that humanity has to offer in many ways.
Yeah.
And at the same time, working for a company that is so involved in their own greed that they fail to support the people that they're asking to work very
Right.
situations. And that's what got to me, I think, more than anything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then the fact that I never had any time off.
No, you did not. You just were working. And, at some point, you've got to ask. What did you say?
I had literally 3 days off the entire month of March.
That's insane.
Yeah.
That's just so insane.
And oftentimes, working by myself and having to run the whole darn place.
Yeah.
So I'm down. It was a big relief of stress.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I would not worry about the town. If you can get in the stars, the airflow, and the cypress tree, and some of the hills, I think that the rest will kind of fall in place.
I'm having a problem, I think, with size.
Yeah, you're squared off. So, like if I were you, I think I would do almost something like,
yeah.
you know, just to like square it. And so
My
you're doing
problem,
it a little differently than him. Does that make sense?
yeah. I'm using a chalk pencil,
Uh-huh.
and I don't like where I've placed the swirls, and so
Yeah.
everything is off.
So take just a paper towel that's moist, you know, wet it and wipe it off. Should wipe
Okay.
right off. Yeah. Do you want me to put this folded version out so you can follow that? Whoops. Oh, I got a lot of tape going on
Actually,
here.
I like that one right there. That's easier for me to follow.
Oh, do it then.
I didn't realize I could do this with the chalk pencil in the water without it ruining the paint.
Yeah, no, it's my friend. I use chalk all the time, and I'm a little upset. I bought these things that said they're chalk pencils, real slate. They're not. They don't work like chalk. They're awfully light. See, they don't do
Oh,
well.
yeah. Mine is actually a pastel chalk pencil.
Those work the best. I got General's pastel chalk. They work the best. They will do everything for you as if you're using a piece of chalk. I really like them. And see, when I did the stars, I just got the focus on there because I figure I'm going to have the picture next to me when I'm working on it. So I didn't. Let's go play with that a little. I have allergies, so my apologies. I can guarantee I'll sniffle a lot.
That's me too right now. I just from the little bit of breeze that's created from walking past my bush, it goes poof.
Yeah.
Just from me walking by.
I relate. You could actually see it in the air.
Yeah.
We've had a couple cold fronts come through, and that's when it really gets bad because it seems to push all the pollens down.
Oh.
I've rearranged my working surface here so that I used to have a tea cart and I couldn't put my legs under the table. Now I have a table so I can put my legs under, and I put my dog's bed under the table so she can sit with me because she really prefers that. Well, she moved her bed so she's closer to me. Yeah, she's like, I need a touch. She's so cute. Steve went out and bought her a little pool so he could wash her out back. And yesterday she was willing. Well, today she's not. She's got terrible allergies, and we're hoping that a daily bath will kick off any bugs or dirt that's sitting on her skin.
Yeah.
But she does not like them, and she's very vocal about not liking them. Now that you got a technique, you're like, score, I can just fix this. That's nice.
Oh dear. Let's see. I forgot the moon.
So I told Kathy that if she wants to do this with us, we're going to probably be using a paintbrush to get all the dashes in. Depends on you what you prefer. But I do know people who have taken They're pens. They're acrylic pens and done dashes with the pens.
Well,
So,
one of the reasons that I'm so excited to have this opportunity with you is to learn more brush techniques because I have been relying so much on pens lately that I'm kind of losing.
oh, well, this will be fun then. Um, I find, in fact, we did face painting yesterday at a country club, and just there were 48 little kids in 2 hours. So we just went from one to the next, boom, 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 boom. And I had researched and I found some acrylic markers that don't hurt the face of the children. And so I bought them, and we had like watercolor paint, but for face painting. You had to wet it and then you could paint with it. And the watercolor paint was kind of streaky, so I went to the paint pens a little bit. But seriously, I am more adept with a brush than I am with a pen because it's what I use. So, you get good at what you use.
Exactly.
But I find I don't shake with a brush, but I do get shaky with a pen. Kind of jerky. And if I was trying to outline something, the problem is in Florida heat, you have heat where you are, and it's wet heat here. And the paint wasn't drying well. So if you had like an outline down with black, everything smeared into it. So I stopped doing that. Yeah, I stopped that. I decided, nah, I'd just paint this.
All right, I'm getting almost to where I can show you.
Wonderful. We're going to be using a glazing technique as we do this. Let's see. Yes, good job. Very good job. And you may add some other stars as we go along, but it's excellent. It's really, really nice. The thing about Van Gogh is his copyright expired on all of his work. So that's why so many artists can take the Van Gogh technique and create their own thing and say it's Van Gogh, and you're not affecting any copyright laws, so artists can make thousands and thousands of dollars on work that they're impersonating. Yes.
There is an exhibit down in Phoenix, or there was, I think it's left now.
Mm-hmm.
It was called the Van Gogh Experience, and
Mm-hmm.
I didn't get but
I saw it in Miami. It's wonderful.
Oh, you see it. Okay, so it was projected on the walls and the
It's
floor.
incredible.
I wish I had gotten down there to see it.
If it comes back again, I recommend you do. So, I don't know what I have done with my white. My work surface all got rearranged today, so who knows what happened to it, but I'm just going to use a different one.
And then I didn't get around to doing it. So shall I just put a little of each color on my palette, or one more than the other?
You know what? We are going to start with white. And then after we get in all the dashes, we are going to use a glazing technique to get the colors in. But I do have a white that's a good fluid acrylic. I have started using heavy acrylics on these little canvases and fluid acrylics on the stones because of the surface. This is more porous. And so the heavy acrylic covers the cross weave a little better. But, here's my white. I found it. So anyway, just put out some white, if you would, please. And I think you can see my little palette there. And I have a couple brushes that I pulled out. One is a liner, and one is a round brush with a big old belly but a very good point. Can you see the point on this guy? Yeah, you've got that.
Is that
Perfect.
good?
Yeah, it looks really good. So here's the secret about these big bellied brown brushes. When you wet them to get started, you have to really kind of be careful because they absorb a lot of water. They're really intended for watercolor, where in watercolor you want it to absorb water in the belly. So what I've done is I keep my rag nearby and I dip in water and then I kind of roll it to bring everything to a good point. And I kind of wipe off the ferrule because I don't want the water to drip from that onto my surface. It'll annoy me. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And here I'm just going to put the paint on the tip this time. I don't want to load the belly because I'm not painting from the belly. I'm actually utilizing that real fine tip. See that? And then I'm just going to start, and I'll turn my canvas as I work, but I want different length lines.
I can't see where you're starting. You're just
There.
out of there.
How's that? Can you see there?
Yeah.
And so it's just, I'm not holding the brush real hard, and I'm just doing some little lines, some short, some a little longer. And I'm just going to keep that going. Like I said, we're going to use the glazing technique to almost stain the colors onto this after it's all done. I missed the cypress tree. I'm going to kind of leave that not painted. Some of my paint is long strokes, and some of it's really short strokes. Can you see here how I'm different length strokes? And it's not all symmetrical. That's part of what's going to keep it looking neat, is it's different lengths. And do you have the original near you so you can kind of look at it?
I do not.
Okay. I can put it up if you want, but you seemed kind of happy on following my strokes. So periodically I'll pull it up for you. How's that?
Just watch you, I think so.
Yeah, that's fine. So basically, the artists back then had oil paint that took forever to dry. And they discovered that if they do short strokes, their paint will dry faster. And that was a big issue for them.
Right.
So the Monet and the Van Gogh and, those guys from that era did that. And of course, it's become famous. This whole thing of the short strokes is like, ooh, I did a Van Gogh.
My good friend Shanta Begay does impressionist paintings about scenes on the reservation.
Ooh.
And I'll have to show you. I'll have to take the camera out there and let you look because they're so amazing and so intricate. And by the way of shading and so on, he actually puts people and animals and spirits and things in the painting that you don't notice until you all of a sudden you'll see it.
Oh, wow. Yes, I'd like to see that.
He's very well known in the native circles.
Wow. Can I have you look at this just for a second? This is kind of a critical thing here. You bring your strokes down here, and then this is actually going to be going like that. So this is like a wave coming in, and then we're going to actually be going over top. So this is what comes out the other side of it, you could almost think. So like the wave whooshes in, goes up the hill, and then falls down the other side. And that's what this is like.
I will try my best.
So you change your strokes there to give that indication. And sometimes I make my strokes too close together and I lose the dark underneath them, like spacing between the strokes. So I'll just put them back in later on. Not a big deal. But I do that when I start coloring it. And I'm doing pretty distinct lines around this corner, so it's easier for you to kind of see how we're going around that corner there. See?
Well, my design is not identical, so it's
Yeah.
going to be a little...
But just so you can kind of incorporate something similar to yours. That is one of the really neat things about this painting, is that rise and fall of the air draft.
Well, here's what I have so far. Is it hopeless?
Yeah, that looks great. Very, very good. And so now you're just getting into the part that's going to kind of fall down from the other side. Do you see that?
Right. I actually have two separate. I've got this swoop and then I have a different swoop.
Here, move your hand. Well, okay. I see what you've done. So you've taken that in there, and then the swoop that's falling out from it is just coming out. Oh, keep it like you're doing it. I think that'll be fine. I don't dislike that at all. I think it's pretty. We don't have to match them exactly. And I like what you've done with that.
Okay, well, let's see what happens here.
You know, one of the things as a teacher that I learn is there's always that pause when I'm looking at people's things. You know, first I'm looking for accuracy to the original, and then I stop and think, and I think, okay, this person is injecting their own personality into it. And what you just did with that is exactly that, and I like it.
Well, thank you. It's mainly because I don't have the original to look at, so I'm going just to sketch and trying to follow
Right.
without having the proportions.
Well, some people are fortunate in that they have, like, one monitor they can do the zoom on, and another screen where they can do see the picture, you know, or they can print the picture or something like that. I'm a computer geek, so I have all that, but very few people have that kind of stuff.
I have one up on my phone.
Yeah, the phone would.
And then have that to go by, but
some people do that. But you've made an alteration to yours to square it off. So I don't think what you're doing is so wrong.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'll keep going and see where this takes me.
And then you want to, after you get that swoop done, go ahead and like color in your moon and do a circle dash around the moon. And I'll pull this down so you can see it. So I color in the moon white. It's going to end up kind of an orangey color. But if you tried to take orange over the blue, you're not going to be very successful. So you would do white under orange anyway, just to get the opaque surface, you know, that the orange won't clash with. Blue and orange kind of tend to make a brown. And then here, I'm just doing a bunch of dash lines, kind of going, you see how I'm kind of going around the moon like that? Kind of working my way.
Okay, that's cool. That's how you do that.
Yeah. Does that make sense how I'm doing it?
Let me get that colored in.
And I'm just not doing my colors yet because I'm going to glaze them on.
Now, what do you mean by that? Glaze.
Turn my volume up a little. I have a hard time hearing. And then when I get into this little C next to the moon, it looks like a letter C to me. I just do a bunch of comma strokes right in there just to kind of fill in the space. Make sense? Yeah.
I'm about ready to do that now.
When you talk, I have a hard time hearing you. I think you're going to have to face your computer or whatever.
I'm basically talking to myself. I'm just sort of
Oh,
mumbling.
okay. That's fine. But if you want me to hear, I'm just getting old. What can I say? So I'm going to do all my stars the same way. I start with like a little dot in the center, and then I'm just going to kind of do dash lines surrounding them. And just go round and round in a circle. And at that, you might want a slightly smaller brush because they're getting kind of thick with the bigger brush. I might rinse that out. It's not going to hurt anything because we're going to stain them, but it might just be easier. So here, I'm going to try a smaller liner brush and see if I like it. So you just kind of, I got water trying to go. And see, at this point, with Kathy doing this, she would just be doing her markers.
Right.
In the same strokes like what we're doing. There's no reason why she couldn't be doing that straight through. I would think it'd be a very exciting finish. And she could put all her colors in with the markers, not even worrying about glazing later on.
What do you mean by glazing, Martha?
I'm going to show you in a little bit, but what we're going to do is take some yellow, some orange, some turquoise colors, and then we're going to add water to them so that they're very fluid and like an ink. And we're just going to paint over top of these areas where we've done the dashes, and it will essentially stain it. It won't cover it up because it's so watered down. So it will stain it with some color, which is nice. Now see here, everything is white, but when we're done, we're going to have all those other colors showing. And then we'll paint in the background around the stars.
Wow, that's great.
And then we paint our cypress tree after we get all this stuff done. And then we play around with the town. Town doesn't have to be perfect, just an image of something going on down there. I think I'm keeping this in view so you can see all my little stars. And what you might want to do is just put a dot where you want stars, and then you just kind of do spiral dashes around them.
Yeah, that's the challenge, is trying to get it.
Now you may not have as many stars as I have.
No, I won't,
because you've changed, the dimensions, which is perfectly acceptable.
Let me show you what I've got so far, because I'm kind
Yeah.
of skipping around to
Let's see.
follow you.
Oh yeah, you're doing it great. I like it. A little more of a dot in the center, a little tighter on your stars, but we can work with that when we're staining it.
Okay.
Yeah. but very much like that. And you just take the time you need. If I go too fast, you say, whoop, wait a minute.
Well,
I'm
no, I can come
fine.
back and do more along, you know, put in more where I need to.
Well, this is the kind of painting I do tell you that you'll fuss with after we're done.
Yeah.
And every class went over the 2-hour mark this week.
Really.
And most people just said, I'm really tired out. I want to just kind of work on my own and get back to you if I have any questions.
Yeah,
That's
that's
because
probably
once you get the sky done and the mountains done, then what's left is the cypress tree and the town. Cypress tree has a lot of lines in it too of different colors. I call this bigger star Venus. That's what I'm putting in right now. Just a bigger star. And I'm going to work on this airflow that's above the mountains. And those are slashed lines. Can you see this? When you get to that point, those are going to be like slash lines. I don't know if you drew that in or not. I don't remember if you did.
I haven't put it in, but I can.
There's like an area. Let me show you the original here so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. So here you have this like airflow that goes along, and then you have the mountains, then you have Little Town. Does that make
Okay, I'm
sense?
gonna fit that in, and it'll have to be very miniature.
Yeah. Just, we're doing impressionism, so you're giving the impression of.
Right.
And so much of these dashed lines we're doing are indicating the direction of the flow. That's, part of what he did.
Right. That's what Shanta does. It's so amazing
When
how.
it was projecting on the walls at the event, you just really appreciate how he did all this stuff. It was just huge. The colors. If you think of how he had to create his own paints and stuff,
Oh yeah.
and he made his own. And the colors, however he got stains and stuff to be able to create these, really something. His oranges were really orange.
I
Really,
saw
most
an
sincerely. Hmm?
Van Gogh in Los Angeles in, oh gosh, I'll bet it was the late 60s, probably like
Okay.
60, 1970. They had a show at the museum in Los Angeles, and I was so blown away by the color
Yeah.
that he
And
could
it's
produce.
just unexpected. I would think from being married to an Indian and being immersed in the culture of that you are familiar with them making their own colors and them doing their own stuff like that, and being aware of the elements of the earth and what can produce this kind of stuff. And
You
I'm
know, with the Navajo culture, they mostly do that with the rugs, the weavings, and the
okay.
dyes used to make the to dye the yarn, and it's fascinating. And then of course the pottery.
Yeah, the pottery definitely shows the same thing. Yeah. So when I'm painting, I keep always one water tub that has a little bit of soap in it and one that doesn't, so that I can keep my brushes really clean.
That's exactly what I do.
Yeah, I just am not willing to buy extra brushes just because I haven't cared for them while I'm painting.
Right. And then I do have this one compound that you can rub on if your brushes get really dirty or if you let them dry. I can't
Uh-huh.
remember what it's
Interesting.
like a paste that you rub the brush in, and then with water it'll just clean any brush.
Oh,
It's
wow.
amazing.
Now I have some, I forget the name of it. Maybe it's the same thing. It's kind of a brownish container, a light brown.
Yeah, let me
Yeah, I
see.
bet it's the
Let me
same thing.
I've got so many art supplies. I can't even find anything. Oh well, I'll look for it another time and I'll take a picture and
Yeah, let
share
me
it
get
with
mine.
you.
I bet it'll be the same thing. I'll be right back.
Okay.
It's the Masters brush cleaner. Does that look right?
That's it.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yeah, I keep it by this thing. You know what else? Nancy Medina is a very famous artist, and I've taken classes from her. And she said, put a little bit of hand sanitizer in your water, and that rubbing alcohol draws the paint out of the brushes.
Well
Yeah, and
done.
that's the brush guys who sell brushes had a video somewhere on YouTube, and they said if you get a brush where you accidentally left paint in it, soak them overnight in rubbing alcohol, and then wash them really well in the Masters, and get them all cleaned up afterwards. But chances are you'll rescue the brush. And I have done
Yeah.
that with a couple really pricey good brushes and rescued them.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
my
It's
heart
good
went to my
stuff.
chest. Huh?
I didn't know about the alcohol though, the hand sanitizer. That's good point.
Yeah. And I a lot of times keep rubbing alcohol nearby in case I'm going through my brushes and I pull one out and I go, oh no, guess what I did?
Yeah.
It's not hard to do.
Oh,
This
I
one
know.
is
I forget
Kathy's.
really frequently
Yeah,
because
I
I've
do
got to
too.
walk away and come back, and the brush is as hard as a rock.
Yes. Well, like if you're working on something and focused and then you get called away for something, you
Yeah.
just forget to do those things sometimes if it's a rush.
So this one star, I'm gonna have to paint over it because I don't like it at all.
Yeah,
Just
that's fine. And that, in fact, let me just show you how you do it. I just put my blue out. This is really interesting. I bought these little bottles to hold my blues. They're just 1 ounce bottles, but if I open
oh,
them, the paint shoots out. I have to actually open them this way, let the air out, and then I can open them and they're fine.
huh.
Otherwise, it squirts paint all over the place. It's a mess.
Oh
Still a
wow.
mess, but I'm not thrilled with my purchase. But anyway, I use the phthalo blue when I put my background on. See here? I just kind of
Yeah.
make new lines in there. And so where I got it too tight together, see, I'm now
I
making
see.
it a little spacier. And then some places on the stars where it's too much, you just paint right over top. You might have to add, because now you have white, so you might have to add something like black to make it a little darker, but see, it goes right over top.
Very cool.
So nothing's permanent. But sometimes when I'm doing the dashes, I just get excited and do too many.
Right.
Pretty easy to get them spaced out again. The only thing is when we start to stain it, we want it dry. So do you have a hair dryer that you could use?
I do.
Yeah. When you're done putting these down, let's go hit it with a hair dryer so that when we go on to the next step, we're not blending colors, we're actually laying
Right. Okay.
stain on top. My first two of the Van Goghs I did on Santorinis.
Is that okay?
They are really some of my better pieces of work. So Van Gogh does well on Santorini. At first I was like, oh, I hate covering up the white because the white is so pretty on it. But I was happy I did.
They make such a nice canvas.
I really like them. It's getting harder and harder to get good ones, though. The guys who sell them here at the local landscaping place,
Oh
um,
yeah.
they're getting all kicked up because they're outside and they're stacked and they just get all beat up. And they're charging more per pound. They have to because it costs them more now with shipping and all that stuff. But they're not taking care of them. And I feel the need to go. I know the owner, he and I've worked together on projects, and I'd like to say, would you please take better care? That's precious merchandise there, mister.
Do you ever order from Shelley Clark Sizemore?
No, that's not one that I've had. You'll have to text me your information.
Definitely. She packs them with such tender love and care.
I have ordered from somebody else who does the same thing, but I like the big stones. And they're much bigger than the one you're working with.
I have some.
So she will
Actually, let
send
me
some big
answer.
ones?
This one is.
Oh, yeah, that's the kind I like to work on. And you got them from her?
I did. Uh-huh.
Yes, if you would give me your information, I would really appreciate that.
I sure will. She's in
Thank you.
Maryland.
Okay. Well, shipping's feasible. The only thing I haven't been real thrilled about is shipping out of country. That gets ridiculous.
Well,
There are
she
people who've,
offers and she does flat rate shipping.
yeah.
So I I don't know, probably 50 pounds for
Okay.
including shipping. I think it was $70.
Really? Okay,
Yeah.
yes, please. I would like, shipping is 70 plus then the purchase of them?
No,
Total.
including shipping.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a very good price. I'm paying $1.20 a pound and they're kicked up and I go pick them up myself. And I have to dig deep in the pile to find them because they're really kicked up. Good for her.
She's a really neat gal. I'm surprised you haven't come across her because Kathy gets all her stuff from her too. And
I found somebody who I thought was that person, but it's not. But I still just used her, and I got some shears from her, and she packs them very meticulously. But the shears have a purpose, and that's, the Santorinis I want to do for art that I try to sell and stuff.
Oh yeah.
Or gift. Like the I do a lot of pets and stuff like that. Well, they're striking on the big stone like what you held up.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it really makes a difference. So that's what I want. And I do I did Van Gogh. I've got a parrot I did like that. I've got, just some big things. And I also do use the canvases. This is 6x8. I use 6x6 and 8x8 because they're great sizes to teach from, but they also look fantastic scattered all over the wall. And
I need to get a little easel. I don't have an easel right now, a little table easel.
I don't use an easel.
You paint flat like you do with rocks?
I do.
See, I was always painting vertically, and
the easel bothers my neck. Do you think that it would help your neck?
I don't know. I just, that's what I used to do.
Uh-huh.
And I haven't had a.
I see some of your paintings on the wall. They're very pretty.
Oh, which one?
Oh,
before you mean?
The moon and the night. It looks like cacti.
Yeah. Actually, it's a tree. Oh,
okay.
The plant is
Yeah. They're very pretty. So, the easel that I use for my students is wooden and it's not wobbly, and they like it a lot.
Yeah, that's
I don't like the ones that fold up and tuck away easily, but they don't stand firm.
Yeah, that can be a disaster.
I'm just too harsh on them. I don't like that. So let's see what you've got so far. Oh yeah, I really like it a lot. I really, really like it. Very, very nice. I like it. And you're not going to have much of a town at all, and that's okay too. I kind of like the concept of not putting it in.
I'm not very good at planning the proportions unless I've got the picture. So I probably should have just pulled it up on my phone. Maybe I'll do that right now.
One of the things that I do is I print it to size of my canvas and then I transfer the pattern on. Have you ever tried doing that?
I don't have a printer right now.
Yeah.
But no, I have not tried that. And
I don't know. You might be able to go to like a local Kinko's or whatever they're called now, FedEx, and just have them print for you, or a local library.
Here it is.
Yeah. So that'll help you when we're putting the colors down. That'll help you a lot.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do at this point, because I think you're about ready for it, is we're going to hit it with a hairdryer. Then we're going to start staining it with some colors. And I think you're going to like that. So I'm going to make noise for a sec here. I find if I mute myself, I forget to unmute.
I'm still trying to get it plugged in.
Mine was mostly dry, so it only took a second.
Yeah, I think mine, but I still wanted to hit it.
Yeah, just 'cause.
This thing is just so hard to reach that I keep missing this. Okay, I think I got it.
Like,
I think that's good.
good. I'm looking something up for us. Yeah, Van Gogh used chrome, yellow, and orange. The yellow lead chromate. Oh well. So I have these colors that I think will be pretty on it. So I put out a cad yellow, a yellow ochre. So this has a little more brown in it. If you don't have yellow ochre, you could use like just a little dab of brown and mix it with your yellow. I have a teal-like color. It could be aqua or teal, or, you know, a lot of colors would be pretty with that. Then pick an orange. And I'm just going to put these colors out. Again, I'm going to kind of be careful to, yeah, see, it just spits. I don't want a lot of color. My problem is I'm spitting. Mess. Blech. Paint everywhere. Yeah, I was so excited that I'd done these containers and had my favorite paints out here, and then I went to teach a class with it, and I had especially black paint from the top of my head to the bottom of my toes. Everywhere.
Why is this so thick?
And I wanted these little containers because then you can just squirt out a tiny bit. You don't need a lot.
That's the trick.
My husband looked at it. He said something. I forget what he said, but there's an explanation for it behaving like that. I forget.
Oh.
Yeah. I'm not Miss. I didn't do well in science ever, so. I don't think I'm the ace student for this. You know, and you can mix your blue and white, the blue that you use for the background, because that's going to be pretty too. I don't think this orange is much different from that orange, but let's try it just for giggles. Oh, it's a little redder. Okay.
It's aqua too. That's really a turquoise. I want the aqua.
So you can't see my color here. I put another orange out a little further out here, but I'll bring it in and show it to you here. Those are my colors that I put out.
Okay.
So you could almost use a red instead of my second orange, because it's like a light red.
I have a red in there.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, I see those colors in it. I like that. Very nicely done. Okie doke. So as you're doing this, you put water on, and I'm using the big barrel brush with the point, and I'm dipping it in water, and I'm putting some water on my palette. So maybe in the center of your little tray.
Okay.
And then, like, I'm going to scoop out some yellow, and it comes out very wet because, you know, these big belly brushes have a lot of water in them. And so we're not going to be painting the yellow. Look here. It stains it when you brush over top. You see how that works? And so kind of look at your original and decide where you want some stain. And just kind of stain it.
Okay.
And so I'm not worrying about the town. I'm not worrying about the cypress tree. I'm just worrying about the airflow that I've put in here so far and the stars. And I'm just going to have fun. I add a little more water as I need to. Just getting some colors out here. If you paint and you're covering up your white, what does that mean?
That it's too thick.
That's correct. See, Kathy might have used her colors when she put out her little dashes so she doesn't have to do this step. Because she was pulling out different markers while she was doing the dashes. Where we just got the job done with one color. And then we're coming back in, getting our colors in now. And there will be sometimes you want the paint a little thicker than just that fluid. But just play with it, you know?
Kind of fun.
Isn't it fun? I love glazing. It just kind of, I did a crab this morning and I did kind of the same thing where I got it certain colors and then I added more color to it because it just seemed kind of drab just by going over top and glazing, and it came out fun. Is it? This has been resined already, but look, see how all the colors got, it was kind of drab before, but once I glazed over top, I really brought out a bunch of colors in it.
Oh, that's awesome.
It came fun, I think. Of course, having resin on it really makes it brighter, but
True.
Kathy turned me on to Mr. Resin. Oh my goodness. I had a resin that I was using, but now I'm sold on this stuff. It's really nice.
I have not tried the resin yet. I've been wanting to, but
Yeah, I was using the kind of resin you mix the two color, or you mix the, two products, and then you put it on with a glove and you let it sit 24 hours. And I was running into problems where it was pulling from the surface. So I'd, go through the whole process only to find out that it really hadn't done well. And I was getting really fed up. And so Kathy had said she found this Mr. Resin and was doing UV resin. Well, I researched it and I found one that wasn't as pricey as Mr. Resin. And so I was doing pretty well, but I still was having some trouble with it pulling from the canvases and stuff. And then she sent me some of the Mr. Resin to give it a try. And, it does a nice job. And now I'm to the point I don't resin using a UV light. I go outside. You probably could be like me and just go outside because we have a lot of sun. But so I resin, then I take them outside and leave them for a couple hours. Then I turn them over to get the back side because, you know, there's always sticky on the back. And then I like them.
Right. Oh, huh. I thought you had to cure them with a lamp.
You do not. They can cure either sunlight or the lamp, and mine are often too big for the lamp. And I have lamps, but the lamps don't seem to work with the Florida humidity as well.
Oh.
But the sun works. There's just a few times, like in the summer, I'm a little anxious about it because I may have trouble getting enough UV because we go into rainy season soon.
Oh, yeah.
We have nasty rainy season.
Monsoon season, but it doesn't start until July.
Yeah. Ours starts very soon. I'm not looking forward to it because it's, you know, hot and humid. Nasty hot early in the morning. Right now I can go outside and enjoy the morning.
But pretty soon it'll be too hot.
Yep. And muggy.
We have some hot weather in June.
Uh-huh.
Before the monsoon starts.
Okay.
We don't really have a warm-up spring. It's still chilly until June. And then in mid-June, we can get up to 90.
Okay.
But
Well, we're in the hundreds.
In the 80s all summer.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
Now, what do you mean by the monsoons? Like we have hurricanes. Is that the same?
No, it's just thunderstorms that come almost every afternoon, and
Oh, okay.
could pour down rain.
Yeah, we have those. And we had them in North Carolina too. I mean, just, you know, then you had even hail. But
yeah, we get that too sometimes.
Yeah.
But we need it so bad because we live in the forest and
Yeah.
the fire danger. There's already a big fire in New Mexico.
Yeah, we have the same problems. Right before rainy season, it's so dry here, the tables are down way low and there are fires everywhere and burning down houses and doing the whole thing. It's awful.
Well, you know, coming from California like we both did, look at
Yeah.
how that was. And
Well, California's almost had no slack. It's been ridiculous.
no, it's terrible.
Yeah. My brother lives in Los Angeles area, and I have one of the art students who lives out in Northern California, but she's had a lot of the same problems. She actually had me do some rocks so she could give it to the firefighters and the emergency people. Between COVID and all the fires, these people were stressed out.
Oh, no.
Yeah, just awful. So here, I want you to see something on mine. I don't know if yours is looking the same, but mine is so wet because I've been just putting water with my stuff and just streaking it on, that if I were to take a hair dryer on this right now, I would not like the results because it would start running the paint around all over the place. It's so fluid. So it's at this point, you just kind of let it dry naturally, which means you kind of go around the areas to see here. It's just saturated there.
Oh, yeah.
So you just want to let it like sit and dry. And I'm adding white to it too, kind of putting some white back into it so that I have those just light colors and dark colors, and then when it dries, it may not be the same color I think I picked. So then you go back and work on it a little more. It's just time consuming but fun.
Yeah.
And so one thing you could work on is put some black out and paint your cypress tree black, and that's a good base color for the cypress tree.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So just when you get to the point where you want to let this dry a little, you may not be done, but you want to let it dry a little to see what you ended up with.
Uh-huh.
Then go paint the cypress tree. Just beware that if you're doing watercolor, and this, here, look at mine just for a second. If I'm painting in this area right here and I touch an area that's watery, the paint is going to flow into that area. So
Right.
I don't want to do that. I can either dry it, before I go to do it with a paper towel, or I can just skip that area, go above it, go below it, but not where it's still wet. Depends on how wet you have that area, because it'll just make a passage for the paint to flow. It's quite ornery. Off it goes. Let's see, when I'm just going to do the cypress tree down in the center mostly so that I don't bother. I'm going to come close to but not touch where it's all wet. And the cypress tree is going to end up with a lot of different colors also. Do you ever do any of the challenges that Cheryl puts out?
No, I don't. I, for some reason, I don't like to have to read a bunch of and follow a bunch of directions.
I'm the same as you. My head goes spinning when I see all that stuff. That's so funny. I think
Yeah,
there are
it
people
does.
who adore it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, personally, I have plenty of inspiration.
I do
And
too. That's what I
yeah,
think. I don't need the help that every day I can't get in everything I want to do.
so yeah, that's so true.
I'm glad to hear that. I feel terrible
Yeah,
because Cheryl is so creative. Oh my
I
gosh, she's
she
creative.
puts so much into it.
But she just goes
It's
right over my head. I look at her and it's like the Charlie Brown listening to his teacher.
yeah, it's too much for me.
I'm glad to
And
hear
sometimes
that.
I think Kathy feels the same way, but she doesn't know what to do about it.
Oh, well, Cheryl's really, what has she been, a teacher or something? Because she really just is good at this kind of stuff.
I don't know what her background is, but
Oh, either.
she gets more done in a day than I mean,
Wow. Yeah.
she gets more done in an hour than I can get done in 2 days.
Well, I mean, I get a lot done, but it's different. you know? I mean, I just have a different direction I go in.
Right. I don't have the organization that she does. I'm more of a left brain, I don't know, crazy person.
I just think that's funny. So one of the stars that I think is really striking is what I call Venus. This one right here. See how white it is?
Right.
It's bigger and it's white, so I'm going to just keep adding light to it.
Could get more color into these.
Just because I really want that to look like Venus.
Have you seen Jupiter in the morning sky?
I can't hear you.
Have you seen Jupiter in the pre-dawn sky? It's been up for a
Oh
couple
no,
days.
I bet that's incredible.
Stunning.
Something's going off, Steve. Is it you? Steve? He's sitting at his computer and one of our gadgets was ringing, so I'm thinking it's his because he can't hear me. We're so funny. He finally retired. And we're each computer people. So one of our comfort places is to sit in front of our little computers and just kind of, you know, do stuff. And this is where my whole setup is with all my, at this point, I've moved a lot of paint out here and stuff like that. So instead of painting in the art room, I actually paint out here more often. And it's so funny.
Nice.
We each have our own little seats. We're funny old people. One of the things that I see in the original is he actually brings back in some of the darker blue. Like he gets his other colors going, but then there's some of the darker blue going on there. The only thing to be careful of is like what I just did, where I just took it over. And it's too wet, so it's spread everywhere when I did it.
I'm having a little problem like that right now too.
You're having the same thing?
With my moon, yeah, I put too much red.
Yeah. We find out. But it's easy to back out. You just wait for it to dry or dab it off and,
Right.
you know. Like, see here, if I take a paper towel, I always cut mine in half and just set it on that and tap, 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 tap. That lets me come in and do some more work with it right away. Because I'm impatient, I want to fix it. And I dip in the white and the yellow when I want it to be a good dollop of yellowish color. Because the yellow on its own kind of goes green on me.
I really messed up that moon.
It's all fixable, my dear.
No.
Nothing's a mess. Now I have a lot of fluid out. I may just dab off my surface here, my palette. Because I almost got too much water on the palette and now everything's just running every which way. And if you have the brush like I'm using, you've got a big belly, and boy, does it just absorb that water. Now I'm doing that little arch there. You don't really have that, but I'm doing it darker where it kind of comes down here because that's natural. That would be how things would be. It'd be shadowed because it's going down and then coming up. I also use my fingers a lot. Do you?
No, I don't. Maybe I should.
Yeah, I do. If I put a brush stroke down and I want it, quick adjustment to it, I just stick my fingers in there. That lets me get it where I want it to be quick. Or like the brush stroke is too thin and I just rub it around a little to make it less distinct.
This is not coming out the way I imagined.
The star up here is just a mess, so I'm gonna redo it. Let's see, like if you have, like some of my stars I feel like are a real mess. I'm just going back over them with white, essentially starting over again for some of the, I feel like I got too much dark in them.
Well, mine are messy.
Remember, when you face away, I'm hard of hearing, I can't hear you.
Mine are just messy. I just don't like.
Let me see. Do you mind? They actually look good. I think a little more white into them might, like longer strokes of white in them. And then keep in mind that we're going to be painting the background also. That's all going to be all dashes up in there. So see this, we're going to actually be painting this in with blues and blacks and whites. So that's going to make a big difference.
Okay.
So they just look funny all alone right now.
They do.
But that's going to change soon. And also paint starts to dry after a while, so you may need to put out some fresh.
True.
So what I'm going to do also while I have these colors wet is I'm going to put some definition in my cypress tree. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Because these are the kind of colors I'm going to want in it. So see, I can actually come through here and just do some vertical lines into the cypress tree to kind of indicate some of the movement in the tree, because it's got a lot of movement. Everything Van Gogh did was a lot of movement. I think that's why they came up with that idea for the Van Gogh experience, because there's just so much movement in his paintings.
Yeah, probably.
I went through a phase where I wanted all my paintings to have movement in them. It was interesting.
Yeah, it's not an easy thing to do.
So when you're working with paintings and acrylic paint, while it dries, you just go to another area and work on it for a while. You know, you kind of don't have to do that when you're doing with markers. They dry pretty fast.
Yeah.
But you can always hit it with a hairdryer, but it is kind of nice to be able to just kind of go off to another area and work on it a bit, and that way you're not running to the hairdryer all the time.
Right.
When I'm working with a round brush, one of the things I do is when I load the paint into it, can you look at mine just for a sec? When I load the paint into it, I'm doing everything to bring myself to a point again. So every
Oh,
time
okay.
the paint goes on, I bring it back to a point. Paint goes on, back to a point.
Okay.
Because that's why I wanted the round brush in the first place. So
Right. For that reason. think I'd like to try this with pins.
What?
I said, I think I'd like to try this with pins. I'm not doing so well with the brush.
It'd be interesting. I would definitely recommend trying both ways and seeing what you like better. One of my students did the pens and liked it. She still went back and did the paint. So she did 3 paintings. One was paint, one was pen, and then back to paint.
Oh, okay.
She definitely liked the pen. There was no doubt about it.
Well, I am not happy with what I'm getting things looking muddy.
Okay, so dry it. Just stop and dry it. Whenever it starts going muddy, stop and dry.
Okay.
It just means that you've got too much blending going on and you want to stop that. Make sense?
Yeah, and then what happens is the lines get too fat.
Yeah, they happen, and then you come alongside them with something to thin them out. But if you're more comfortable with your pens, you'll have an easier time. Can you see my cypress tree right now?
Yes, it looks so good.
Well, it's
Mine
got
is,
an awful lot of thick lines, and so I need to get a little more black here, but I'm going to actually use black or Payne's Gray, one of the two, to, let's see if I'm going to get in trouble. No. Watch here. So I get a liner brush with a real fine point, and I'm going to come up alongside some of these lines that I've put in there and just thin them out a little. See, here's a
okay.
thick yellow line. See, I'm thinning it out just a little. So I'm not using as big a brush to do this. I'm using a liner.
Okay, let me try that. Maybe
Yeah.
that'll.
So you get your dark back in, and that helps get the texture you wanted. Because those brown brushes get a little thick. And then another thing I'm doing is I'm bringing the black in, because he used black. And he used black in the sky also. So while you're doing this, put some black in the sky. I'll show you when you get a sec. So here, I'm actually going to go through and get some black in the sky.
Okay.
I'm also going to get some light blue up there, a little bit of yellow, a little bit of white. So instead of glazing this part of the sky, I'm actually going to do my colors now, because we've got them all out, so now we can do them. And see, even in my airwave here, I'm sticking some black in there, because he did. Not a lot, but a little bit. Do you see how that's going to pop some of your, it's going to separate some of your colors that got a little too wide?
Yeah.
See, now all of a sudden my airflow's looking a little bit better because I added in some of the black. And I'm using a thinner brush to get it in. And if your paint's too thick, weaken it with a little water. That could be why you're getting fat also.
Yeah, I
It's
just
just
don't
too
know.
thick. Huh?
I don't like that I put these colors.
Can you hold it up to
Something,
the camera?
yeah, something is just not right with the airflow colors.
You have done Arizona colors, my friend. And I didn't stop you because that's you. That came out of you. I didn't stop you because you're doing what's natural to you, and I think that's correct. So,
Well, it's different.
do you see that? Do you see what you did?
Kind of, yeah. I put too much, maybe
I
not
liked
all
it. But if you want to
of,
back it off, mix white and yellow to get a lemon yellow type of color. That'll help you
okay.
back some of that. But don't lose your Arizona colors. I think they're great.
Oh gosh.
I watched you doing that and I thought, look what she's doing. This is in honor of your husband.
This is just what we see.
It's a good thing.
Well, it's my first attempt at something like this, and I do like
I
the idea. I just probably try it with the pens and see if I can get better control because
sure.
just every time I add something, it seems like it just makes it worse.
Well, keep in mind also that I had tried this painting a couple times over the years. This was not my first try at it when I went to teach it. And this is my
Okay.
5th time to paint it in a week. So I'm getting a little used to it. So cut yourself some slack.
Well, I'm not going to throw it away, but it's a lesson.
No, I really think your true colors came out in it.
You're so kind.
I do. We do
And it
that, you
helps.
know. Have you ever noticed that you've got a topic in front of you and you're working on it, and when you're done, you're looking at it and you go, I didn't paint what's in front of me.
Oh,
This
I
is
know.
totally different. That's because we paint from our heart. And our heart is thinking and feeling and coming up with different stuff.
Well, it's funny. I've been painting birds lately, ravens and blue jays, and
Uh-huh.
I don't know
Awesome.
why. I just all of a sudden started doing that.
Well, There's probably significance in that. I have a painting I did of cardinals, and
Oh,
no idea what I was doing, but years later I look back on it, and that many cardinals that I put in that painting were the amount that died in my family that year.
is that right?
Yeah,
Wow.
but I didn't know I was doing it. And you know, they
Right,
do say cardinals are loved ones coming to visit, so.
right. We don't have cardinals here.
Oh,
I've
I'm
never seen them
sorry.
before.
They're sweet little birds. They're not brassy. You know, the jays are brassy, and
Oh,
a lot of them are brassy. We have blackbirds and crows and woodpeckers and all these things, but the cardinals and the wrens are just sweet little guys. The wrens are actually sassy. The cardinals will come and look at you, but they're very soft, gentle little birds.
oh,
At least here they are. I hear that they're different in different regions, but I've been in Florida so long I don't remember it.
yeah.
I was, a northern girl before, but I don't remember.
Well, we just have a lot of finches and a lot of
Yeah.
prey. We have, eagles and hawks and um, or not albatross. What do you call
Uh-huh.
it? The one pictures. What are those? They're not seagulls, but they look like seagulls.
Interesting. We have
I don't know.
something that is, and I don't know the name of it, but people periodically post, "What is this bird?" And people always tell them. And they're kind of like seagulls, but not. But they're, I don't know, they look like a character out of a movie. They're different.
This is gonna drive me crazy. Let me think. They're cormorants. Mm, I don't know.
Okay. So I've gotten in quite a bit of black. Can you see what I've done? So my stars have gotten quite dark. And I'm going to let that dry as I'm putting in this background here. But then I'm going to go back and lighten those up some because I felt like they didn't have distinction. They were too, my blues had gone to a dark green. And so I will put more yellow out and stuff like that and work on getting these lighter when my black has had a chance to dry. Does that make sense?
It does. I don't know what to do because mine got too
You have
the
the same
dots.
problem that mine did. So you
Yeah,
ended up with it going to a green. And so just let it dry and then you can see how I went back over that and I lightened it up quite a bit.
yeah,
And then here, see over the white, I can bring in some turquoise.
yeah. Okay.
So I'm just getting more yellow and white and turquoise into this to try to clean it up a little. My orange mixed in too much, I think is what happened.
Some fresh white out.
But when I use the yellow, I'm mixing it with white. I am not trying to do yellow on its own anymore.
That's just what I did. Just mix some white with the yellow, and I'm gonna try to.
Uh-huh. Can you see these sun or stars are starting to look a little better?
Yeah.
And I really think that that's something you could do that you'd like a lot. And even white on its own would be pretty in some of these. Unless they got too dark. And if I look at his stars, he has some bits and pieces going out farther. And he's got some yellows or turquoises. Now, when we start painting in our dashes in the background, a lot of that's going to merge with this. And another thing I'm doing is slowing down my dashes. Not trying to go real fast, put them slowly so that I control where the paint goes. Anytime you try to go too fast, it tends to not be in places you want.
Exactly.
And then I want some scattered white or yellow-white lines around the star that will blend in with the background that we're about to put in. So here I'm mixing white and blue, more white than blue. And here I'm going to show you right here, if I could show you just for a minute here. So here I'm going to start doing my dashes up around here, around this star.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden the star's dysfunction is not as bad as I thought it was. Can you see that? Not a little bit. I don't want it white. Did that make sense? That when you start doing the background around it, now the stars look better.
They definitely do. I'm not quite to that point yet, but
Yeah.
I see what you're doing.
Well, I just want you to have the confidence that it's going to come together.
I don't know. I think I did. I should not have used the red at all.
You what?
But I can.
Sorry, I'm deaf.
I said I shouldn't have used the red.
He uses red. So there is
Yeah,
red. There's a lot of red in the cypress, there's a lot of red in the village, and there's some red in the sky.
Yeah.
Not a lot. The majority of the red is in the cypress and the village. But can you see here how you can cover that up too? Look. It's really going to make a difference up there. When you start doing that, all of a sudden the rest of it starts coming together. So let's say I had put red out. Let me try that. You don't want that spitting all over. That's like black spitting. Okay. So let's say that I had done some red into my star. Okay. So I have some of those colors in there. You can see here, they look better when I start doing the light blue in the sky around it.
Yeah.
Can you see that?
Yeah.
So there is red in there. I'm going to get a lot of red in my tree because it actually belongs in the tree. He uses these colors. He's not afraid of his colors, that's for sure. See,
Nobody
I
should
could
ever
have
be.
some, huh?
I said nobody should be afraid of color.
No. There are people who are, but let's not be them.
No.
I love color. But see, I'm playing with red around my moon. Look how much red I just put around my moon.
Mine was like that.
Uh-huh. So here I'm doing white and yellow. And I'm going to come around that. I'm leaving the red, but I'm really popping it with this white-yellow stuff.
Cool.
So it's all good. I'm just using the red as an accent at that point.
How far are you from the ocean?
We have the Gulf of Mexico. So it's a longer drive to get to the ocean. You've got to go across the state.
Oh, okay, but how far are you from the water?
No, about half an hour. Depends on season. In season, traffic's horrible.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So then we've got a. My girlfriend works on Sanibel, and she has to commute in that all the time.
Oh, dear.
Yeah, that's hard work. There's a lot of
I
heavy
went
traffic. Huh?
recent fires. We went over to Sanibel Island.
Uh-huh.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. She brings me shells that she gets there, and I incorporate them into paintings. That's really a lot of fun.
Cool.
Yeah. See here, I'm putting in this light blue, and I'm also using it to lighten up my airflow just a little bit because it got a little dark on me. So I mixed my phthalo blue and my white to get the color that I'm putting for the dashes in the sky.
Okay.
And then I'm putting some of it into here, where it just got super green. A lot of my turquoise or teal turned green, which it has that propensity.
Right.
It wants to. I'll try some of this blue. I just got a new blue. Seems like it'd be pretty here. It's a very light blue. It's supposed to be aqua. I don't see that that's aqua at all. I don't know if you can see it here. This color.
Oh, no, that's
Not very aqua.
blue or
It's more like
red.
a robin's egg blue or something.
Yeah.
Baby blue. But it's kind of pretty in the sky. Every now and then when I order art supplies, I order some paints from manufacturers that I like, but I haven't tried their stuff.
Yeah.
So this is some of that.
What brand is it?
It's kind of pretty. Very
What
fluid.
brand?
That's a Holbein. I really like
Oh,
Holbein. I've bought a
right.
lot of their stuff. Like these things are just gorgeous. They're luminous. These colors,
Oh,
they're just
those are
pow,
awesome.
gorgeous. And that's Holbein heavy acrylic. And they have a whole set of luminous. See, I think these would be kind of fun to mix in for a wild Van Gogh. Wouldn't that be pretty mixed in there? Make it a little
Yeah.
more, wah!
Mine's kind of turning out like that. And I should also warn you that I've gone rogue.
You found
I've
what?
gone rogue. I've gone rogue.
Yeah?
I'm using pens and brushes.
Oh, good. I see you. Yeah, now I see it. Good for you.
Well, it's making some difference. I don't know if
Let's
it's
see. Oh, yeah. I think it's making it very interesting. I like the rogue in you.
I'm not in love with the colors that I painted, but I'm getting some technique, and I'm dying to start over with just doing it with pens.
Well, you know,
And
you can
why?
just sand it off and start over, don't you? Do you know that
I've
about
never sand,
Santorini's?
I've never sanded off a whole painting off of one. I've done like little mistakes.
Yeah, you can do that. You can also hold them under the water in the sink and watch it go bye-bye because it's stone, so it doesn't stick like it does to canvas. So I've done that
Oh,
when I've not been happy with it and I just wanted to try it again. You know, on
really?
canvas you regesso it, but look at my moon.
Right.
I'm
I
putting some
love
of
it.
that luminous color in.
I love it.
All right, you go rogue on your side, I'm going luminous. How's that? That's fun. Okay, this is fun. I've already painted it so seriously. I'm having fun.
I love that orange.
Me too. I have some yellow too that's supposed to be really luminous. Let's try some. Here's a luminous yellow. Ooh, look at that. Right there.
Ooh. Yeah.
Pow.
Alrighty.
All right. Watch out, world. Martha's having fun now. The girls are out. Oh, why not? This is fun.
All right, now I can see what I need to do. I love that.
It
That
did
is
get
a
a lot
good
more
color.
fun, didn't it?
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Time. Ooh. All right, Holbein's taken over.
I really love that orange. I just love that color.
Look how pretty it came out. Look at this is the another yellow. Those two are yellows. This is the orange right here.
Beautiful. You want to see where this is going?
Huh? Oh, yes, that's exciting. I love that. Good girl. See, we have to not behave. There's more potential for us when we go rogue. Thank you for choosing that.
Well, what can I do to this tree?
I'm going to add more colors into mine. I'm going to get the sky finished and then I'm going to add more colors in my tree.
Okay, well, let me try that too.
Well, see, now the sky's going every which way. I'm going to move some of this through. I like that yellow. This is Luminous Opera.
Ooh.
It'll be pretty in the tree. And some of this in it. Excuse me, I'll be right back.
Okay.
He's here. Looks like it's going to rain outside. I'll be right back. I have to get my cardinal in. What do you think?
Oh, beautiful.
I added, when I put the resin on, I put some little glitter on it. I think that's kind of fun.
He's gorgeous. I love that. What is that on a tile?
No, a little 6x6 canvas.
Oh, wow.
Isn't that wonderful?
Yes, it is.
That's why when I've been teaching, I've been using these smaller canvases, and they are adorable, popped all over the wall. I have a lot of holes in my wall. But it's my wall. I love my colors now.
I love yours. I do. I'm okay with mine. I'm not thrilled.
Oh, I love yours. Yeah, I really love it. Do you know what I recommend? Is
What?
go rogue on the cypress tree some more. Get more color into the
Okay.
cypress tree. What do you think?
Yeah, I need something. Try this one.
I think I'm going to go with some purple down here. Poop. I'll be right back. I'm going to go look in the art room.
Okay.
Walking up on this, I'm psychedelic.
Yeah. Pretty groovy.
I'm going to try some violet here. See what that does. Hi, Tiki. Let's see. Hi. Oops. Do you ever dip in one color and then kind of look away, and next thing you know, you've dipped in a totally opposing color? With me, it's always like black. Oops.
Uh,
I kind of want this up here. love your idea of going rogue. I'm having the best time. I don't think I would have if you didn't say that.
You know what?
Let's see. Let's see what you're doing so far. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. I love that. That is an exciting painting.
Well,
Do you not find it exciting?
yeah, I do. I like it. It's different.
Yeah, I mean, it's really got some excitement in it.
What I want to do is take my camera and show you some of Shanto's work.
Yes, if you would, I'd love to see it.
Okay, let me just pick up my.
Absolutely.
All right. Can you see
Oh,
that?
wow. Yes.
Can you?
Yes. Oh, wow. Look at those colors.
And then if you look closely, can you see like right here's a horse with a
Yes.
rider on it.
It's almost like alcohol ink, isn't it?
There's an old wagon here, see?
No, I can't see that. Okay, wait a minute. It's coming in focus. It's got a lot of shadow or the glare behind it. Move up.
Okay, let me show you this one. There's no glare on this.
Okay. Oh, wow. Wow. That's incredible.
Yeah.
Wow. Now, who did these?
His name is Shanto Begay.
Okay.
And he's very well known. I actually knew him before I met my husband.
Really?
Yeah, I met Clarence at one of Shanto's weddings.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah. So, yeah, the Bitahochi, that trading post one is very special.
That is really, really something. So he does a lot of detail, but he softens it with colors and textures. Textures seem to be huge.
Yeah, he does a lot with the knife, but also with brush.
Uh-huh. That was a treat. Thank you for sharing that. I really, really enjoyed seeing that. So I think I'm going to call it a day for us. And if you would do me a favor and send me a picture of your final.
I will do that. Do you want to see some of my portraits that I've been doing?
Yes, I definitely do. Oh, cat. That's incredible. Oh, wow. That's a great job. Now, is that paintbrushes or pens?
Pens.
Wow. You're very precise. Oh, look. I love him. You can't see it, but I have a huge grin on my face.
Yeah, one more and then I'll let you go. I just don't know what it is with birds all of a sudden.
Oh, I love that. That's my favorite type of bird.
The woodpecker.
Oh, yeah. I love that. That's beautiful. That may be my favorite. I love that. You have
Thank
such
you.
you that comes out in your painting. It always has you. Look at that. I like that a lot. Now, what do you have on it if that's not resin?
I use this
Okay,
Clear.
Duraclear, and that works beautifully. They're very pretty. Yeah. You know, I bought a rock for my daughter-in-law from somebody, I think she was on the rock painting ideas and suggestion, not our page. Elizabeth Prince. I don't know if she goes on our page. But anyway, it was $60 for just Mexican beach stone. And she doesn't resin. And I mean, it was gorgeous. Bobby Joe just fell in love with it. But I always thought you charge the more because you resin, because of the cost. But that woman is doing beautiful, beautiful paintings, and she charges reasonably for them. So
I'll be darned.
yeah, it's hard to know. Hard to know what's right.
Well, I'm going to keep working on this.
All right.
I'm also going to start with a fresh one and do it all in pens,
Okay.
and then I'll share.
I can't wait to see them all. I'll share my ultimate wild thing with you too.
I love those colors. Those paints are exceptional.
Yeah, I did something really stupid with these paints and I'm kicking myself. I put them in these jars and I did the whole tube of this color in this jar. They're drying out. I keep adding stuff to them to try to keep them, but that was not smart. They need to be in the metal tubes for a reason. So I'm going to have to repurchase, and they're expensive paints. So I'm just kicking myself for being so foolish with that because they're treasures. They really pop paintings, don't they?
They do. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, just so different.
How can I compensate you for your time today? Do you have a PayPal or?
No, this was just you and me. Here's how I do it, Kat. If you want to, now that you're kind of staying home for a bit and stuff, if you want to meet up more often, what I do is I charge $10 for as many classes as you can fit in a month. And I'll meet with you just like we did today. It's very affordable. It just helps me cover the Zoom cost and stuff like that. And then other than that, it's just let's paint. I enjoy doing it. So
Well, me too. It's always fun to paint with somebody.
yeah, I like the company. I think I'd be a real hermit if I didn't do this. So it's a treat for me.
I'm so grateful. Thank you for your tips and your encouragement today. I really do appreciate it.
Well, I'm grinning from ear to ear. I really enjoyed it. So thanks, Kat. Take care of yourself.
Thank you, Martha. Enjoy your evening.
Thanks, you too. And let me know when you want to do it again because I really, really enjoyed this.
I did too. We'll do it again soon.
I hope so. Bye-bye. See, I'm doing the same.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye-bye.